And as everything that we talk about on the show, there's nuance to this stuff. There's layers to this, says Shrek. You know what I mean? We have to understand that when it comes to hip hop, it's not, they wanted to, look, this whole world is becoming divisive and, pushing you in your corners. If you don't like today's hip hop, you can't throw today's hip hop baby out with the mumble rap bathwater. There's so much being made today that's amazing and artistically wonderful. And we could say F the Grammys, but there's actually some value to paying attention to the Grammys, watching the Grammys. Like I said, I had a great time with my daughter, kind of showing her who's what, who's who. From your generation, you let me know something. I tell you about who I know, and we rise together, as my friends from the band called Fuse would say. There's some benefit to that. Jay-Z can preach about Beyonce not winning album of the year. That's cool. But Cormega's right in that we've seen advancement in how the Grammys have treated hip hop. The new chairman or whatever has been very vocal about trying to increase diversity, increase underrepresented voices. And we have to give them time to make that adjustment and to see how it works over time. As SK pointed out earlier today, my man Silent Night, the last few years of best rap album have been, traditionalists, purists, people who look at the artwork as opposed to like who's popping would say this has not been a bad run in the last few years. Now, they don't televise it, so now we still got to keep pushing their buttons, but that doesn't mean we throw it all away. Do we need validation? Do y'all need that? Who am I? You look how I present. I can't say it. Do y'all need validation from the Grammys, whether they're not your award show? You can go to other places and get validation, but the Grammys are the Grammys. And to my man Dolio and Jeffrey McNeil, who's also the Phantom, has pointed out, the Recording Academy gives artists a lot more than just awards once a year. They do probably a lot more for the art of music making than BET, VMAs, MTV, maybe even Soul Train and Essence and all the other like award programs. The Recording Academy does a lot. They got museums, they give grants, they give programming. There's a lot to take advantage. The Music Cares program, there's a lot to take advantage of. So I don't want to throw out the Recording Academy baby with the snubbed Beyonce bathwater. Like there's nuance to these things. Let's try to figure out ways to not say F the Grammys, right? Because we miss out on the fact that Killer Mike had a really impressive run. Now, he gets arrested or detained because of a brief confrontation with a security guard, misdemeanor battery, gets released the same night, and he's partying and having a good time. But that's as always, the negative, whatever negative tidbits they can get is what gets broadcast. If we're saying F the Grammys and not emphatically doing what I did tonight, which is to show his acceptance speech, which is to show his red carpet press conference, which is to point out the fact that he named other Atlanta artists that you should be aware of that weren't him, that aren't like paying him to say it. We need to be doing that collectively, or else we're not helping the cause. Saying F the Grammys and pretending like they don't exist, I don't think does hip hop justice. I think that talking about it and saying, listen, we had some great nominees from across the spectrum, from the Drakes and the Ice Spices of the world to the Killer Mikes and Nas's of the world. And we haven't even gone down the whole list of nominees. We're just talking about the ones you know. And Jay-Z, yeah, he made a little statement. It wasn't the, emphatic revolutionary statement a lot of people make it out to be, but he said what needed to be said. I'll give him that. What's going to happen, right? What can we do? What can y'all do? If you're a member of the recording industry, you can become voting members, or do we just give up and say, nah, we don't need their validation? I don't know. Cormega said a lot of good things where he said, we've made progress over the years. These folks are getting the accolades, and you could write it off if you want. But if you're a Grammy nominee like Coco Jones or SZA, a Grammy winner, that gets you more paper. That gets you more bookings. That gets you bigger venues. That gets you more press. And so when SZA, who I think is phenomenal, wins, and a Killer Mike wins a Grammy, That means something. That means something. So yeah, Miley Cyrus, okay, whatever, cool. You know what I mean? You know, a couple years ago, Harry Styles is winning, and you're like, you beat Beyonce. That's crazy. That's not right. Beyonce was so good with her Renaissance project. Fine, I get it, but don't discount the fact that SZA won yesterday. Killer Mike won. Right? Nas was nominated again. We're seeing progress. But I'm just the guy that says I'm giving you all both sides. What I know for a fact is a lot of people who could be voting members that are from underrepresented communities aren't. So, like Dolio said, like the Phantom said, become a voting member and let's change this. Let's continue to push the progress from the inside and really make it happen. We don't need a savior. We don't need Jay-Z to come. I mean, he was the guy that was supposed to change the NFL. How's that working out? You know what I mean? So, longer story. And Jay's great and he does great things, but that's not the end all be all when somebody comes on and says what he needs to say in that space. There's work that has to be done. No one's going to come and swoop in and save us. So my job, again, is to make sure that hip hop is represented in the best way possible. And that's what I try to amplify. So that's what we did tonight. I appreciate the conversations.
Manny Faces.
You sick for this one. Sick for this one. Sick for this one. Sick.